Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We're out of recess. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stacy, if you take the roll, please.
Councilman Gary Donovan,
Councilman Gary Donovan, Councilman at Large, present.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor,
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor, Council at Large here.
Councilman Ronald Quagliani,
Ron Quagliani here.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky is absent, Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite,
Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite, second district present.
Councilwoman Sarah Aquarelli is absent, Councilman Mitchell Galagnano is absent, Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton,
Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton here.
Councilwoman Catherine Tucker is absent, Councilman Victor Boris,
Councilman Victor Boris, 8th District, present.
Councilman Robert Bruno is absent, Councilman Stephen Johnstone is absent, and Chairman Peter Massaro.
Yeah, Chairman Peter Massaro is here, President, 6th District Council.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you, Stacy. First up, we have Pam from the Personnel Department is here. The budget's on page 37. Pam, if you want to give an overview, say a few words before, kind of our highlights maybe for the past year, and then we could get into some Q&A.
Sure, I would like to just make a few remarks. It's been a year since I had the opportunity to come here and present a budget, and it was the first opportunity for you to, I think, really meet me, and we talked about my experience and so forth. It's been a challenging year. You may recall, and I remember it quite well, I had 3 big asks, and they were 3 positions I needed for my department and the personnel department to be staffed appropriately. I will tell you that it's been a challenge to fill these positions, but I'm very pleased to say I filled 2 positions, personnel generalist and the HRIS benefits administrator position. So I have 1 remaining open, which will be a challenge. It is the most senior of my 3 positions. It's, this person would need to have expertise in the areas of training, organizational development, succession planning, high potential development, assessment of talent. Now, this is a position I feel that it's still very much vital to move the city forward in changing the culture, possibly, developing strengths in our staff, assessing the strengths of our staff, assessing our bench strength, planning for the future, succession planning. I think it's a vital position. It's one that the MARB does very much endorse and support, as well as the other 2 positions. Now, also since last year, we had, you may recall, 1 individual who performed 3 functions: benefits administration, our payroll, our weekly payroll, and the whole system management, our HRIS system. That was an impossible feat, and that was the first step in restructuring my department and relocating payroll back to the finance department. So that began the structuring of positions, redefining positions, and it was the impetus to developing the department. So we're on our way. I'm very happy, pleased to say, and I think there'll be certainly much more progress made against my strategic plan that I report to the MARB on a regular basis. They are aware of vacancies, and I think there was some question from the council as to the number of vacancies, and we do have 12 openings right now. A couple of the openings, very critical ones, are in our finance department, in our grants department. I have 1 in my department, IT, And I think those are critical positions we are actively trying to recruit. In the last year and a few months, we've actually filled 42 positions from the outside, and that excludes the PD and the fire department. So there's been a lot of placement in the organization, and I think we'll continue to see some turnover, and we'll work hard to fill them as quickly as possible. We've updated countless job descriptions over the last year, and we'll continue to do that and redefine positions. And I think as audit findings come out, there'll probably be further redefinition. So work is constant and continuous. All I will say with this budget, I really have no more asks. It is pretty consistent now from last year. No significant changes. So if anyone has any further questions, either about salaries or...
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll start, if we could, with the framework of your budget personnel, and then we may leak out a little bit to general personnel questions that maybe involve other departments too, if you could answer, okay?
I'll do my best.
So I just want to for the council, if we go down your roster, so obviously the personnel director is filled, right?
That's me, yep.
Yeah. Payroll benefits coordinator is open?
It's no longer...
Oh, I see, you switched it up, okay, yeah,
right.
all right. It becomes the HRAS benefits coordinator, right?
That's correct.
And that you said is filled?
That's correct.
Okay. Personnel generalist, you said it just got filled, right?
Yes.
Personnel office assistant,
Yes, that's
filled?
currently filled, yes.
Okay. Organization development specialist is the
Open.
one that we're looking for, right?
Right.
And then administrative floater.
Filled.
Okay. Now, are these, so, I'm gonna, personnel generalist and, well, the organizational specialist, we don't have one, but I would assume that you already have a job description and a salary agreed upon with the union for those positions? I guess my question is there's some significant increases from 23 to 24, so it looks like it would be outside of what the union contract would be, right?
Well, I'll be happy to explain that.
Yeah.
I started really after about 7-8 months, I started to panic when I couldn't fill these positions. And I didn't have a lot of incoming resumes of interest coming through. And so what I thought, if I was, as these budgets were being, put together, I thought that I might have to use an outside firm to help me fill these positions. So that's why I elevated the salary a little bit, to cover any fee. So for 2 of these positions, they're filled at the lower salary. Last year's budgeted salary.
So you don't, so there's extra funding in those 2
I
lines?
do have extra funding now at this point for 2 of those positions, yes.
You wouldn't know how much that extra funding is, do you?
Yeah, I do, actually. 16,000 for the personnel generalist, and 5,000 for the HRIS benefits coordinator.
So the HRIS coordinator could go from 75 to 70?
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yes.
And the personnel generalist would go from 70 to 54?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
What? I just-
You have it? Oh. Anyone have any questions for the personnel director? Councilman Donovan?
Yep. Thank you for coming again tonight. So obviously those numbers would change with the different 16,000 extra for the personnel. So we would just have to subtract 21,000 from that 458, 168, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
And the regular wages from 233,000 is now 435. I just don't see the extra job that would cause that.
That's the projection, the 23 projection expenses, 233.
Yeah. Oh, I see, I'm sorry.
The
My
last
bad.
year's
You're
budget
right.
was
Correct.
416.
Good, I'm good. Thank you.
I just
Councilman
got-
Boris?
how you doing, Pam? I just more just a comment, just wanna say that, I think that, seeing the way you work and the, how you've handled the personnel from when you came, you're doing a great job, so I just wanna say,
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's it, I'm sorry, that's all I wanna say.
Thank you.
I'm done, Chairman.
Anyone else on the personnel budget?
I don't know if this, sorry, I meant that. An economic developer, that doesn't fall under personnel, correct?
It does not.
That goes into, is that planning zone?
Planning and development,
Planning and
probably,
development. All
I
right.
believe, yes.
Okay. Do you know if we have that? That you wouldn't
That's
know?
an open position.
It is an open position still, okay.
That's
thank you.
another area where we have I believe, four openings.
Now I'm done. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Donovan. Councilwoman Hamilton?
Hi, Pam.
Hi, Robin.
Thank you for coming this evening.
Sure.
So have you been able to look at all jobs in their descriptions? Or only when jobs need to be filled, are you kind of reevaluating the
I've
job?
covered, I think about 80% of the city, actually.
Right,
I've really covered a lot of territory.
I'm sure. And when you look at the job descriptions,
Mhm.
you're looking at what the person's presently doing now, and are there times when like there's extra duties or anything's adjusted, or do you just kind of
Well-
write what they're doing?
I sit with the supervisor, manager, department head, and we talk about the direction of the department, the direction of the position, how it's changed over time, and we kind of leave the incumbent aside. And we look at what the position really should be scoped out at. You know, this is obsolete. No, this position, you know, eliminating tasks and functions that maybe are obsolete, and we've come across that. So it's really more of, you know, an opportunity for the manager to examine the various functions in their department.
And when you see though, like when it's just not, you know, what the description is and maybe what the function that the employee is doing.
It's really not that
really-
far off. It's really not that far off. I mean, there's tweaks. There's a lot of tweaks.
Okay. Thank you.
Unless you know of something else.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
I
should
see
talk
that.
offline.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
All right.
And I just want to say, I want to make a general assessment of what I see. I don't know, you know, when I see new faces, I'm
Yep.
glad that there is a array of faces. I'm sure, you know, that you bring people in that are based on their ability, but I'm glad to see that it's starting to look like the city. It reflects the city.
Super.
Yep, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Good.
That's all.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman Hamilton. Councilwoman O'Connor?
Okay, so then you sit down with the department head and yourself to do the job description, and then it goes to the union. What does the union then do?
Yeah. I review if there are significant changes. I have to sit down with the union agent. If the job is changing so much, in fact, that, you know, qualifications might change, responsibilities are significantly changing, and maybe it calls for a reslotting. So that definitely calls for a meeting with the union agent, and at times, sometimes it's reslotted. I mean, we're working through, positions right now in finance, so, yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Councilwoman Garthwaite?
Hi Pam, I just have a quick question. What are we using to find our talent? Are we using just our city website? Are we using headhunters?
Yeah, first we go to Indeed, and we post a job there. We post just about every job on CCM. For engineering, for example, we're going to a specified job site for engineering talent. And sometimes we target other job sites for specialized talent. Building official, Frank has a ABO website, I forgot the name of it, but we target specialized websites when we should.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Pam, in your experience, you've been here, would you say, just north of a year? Yeah.
Year and a half.
I know it seems longer.
Every day's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. So in your experience, what is the average timeline from I have this new fresh position here to developing the job description that the union agrees to, slotting it, advertising it? I mean, I know depending on the position, it depends on how long it may sit out there looking for talent and at the price point, but in your experience, is there a certain, to just get through those steps with job description, union discussion, slotting, is that a 6 month, is that an 8 month,
no,
is it
no,
a
no,
3
no, no.
month?
No, to get it posted,
Mm-hmm.
2-3 weeks at the most. If it's changed, the job needs to be, discussed with the union representative, depending on their availability, that kind of thing.
So there's, in the recommended budget, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 new positions. So has any of them started the process with job description or because you're gonna have to go to the union?
We have not gotten to that step yet, no. No, we haven't.
Because I think they would be all union, they would be all union positions, so,
Obviously, the police officers already
right,
negotiated.
right, 8, okay, so eight of those.
Oh, 8 of the,
Yeah, it's police.
Oh.
You already know that.
And then, so we were supplied this, I don't know, last week maybe, this is the current head count with the open positions, so I know it's very, very fluid.
This is the format one of the formats I use. This is what Marb wanted. And I also give them a vacancy recruiting spreadsheet too, and that's kind of tells you a little bit about the recruiting activity. But, yep.
So, if I could just quickly, you may have an updated version, but if we could just go down because I had 14 open FTEs, 9 open FTEs for the police and 2 open part-time for the city, but we may be off a couple, I think.
Yeah, we're off now with the police. I believe they had 2 exits, 2 additional exits in the last couple weeks, last week maybe.
So
We
the
have, you wanna
comptroller's
start?
down
or-
2. The mayor's office is full staff. The comptroller's down 2, it looks like, right?
We're now down 3.
3.
Yep.
Corp counsel's down 1.
Down 1 for paralegal. Taxes fully staffed.
Yeah.
City clerk,
City clerk looks like they're fully staffed.
I'm down 1 personnel. Council is fine. Planning and zoning, down 1. Building department, I do have a hire. And I'll have a property maintenance code inspector starting in the end of May.
So they'd be down 2 instead
They'll
of
be
3.
down 2,
Yeah.
yep, that's true, right, 2.
Grants, you're down 1.
We're down 1 in grants.
Purchasing 1.
Purchasing 1, and that's for the admin. We've put recruiting on hold.
That's the one that was in last year's budget, but is that weird? Is that for the?
Yeah,
For
that was
the-
a carryover from
Right.
last year's budget.
Okay.
Correct,
I think
yep.
it's still in there, right?
Yes.
IT, we're down 1, you said?
We're down 1, yes. We hired someone as the network engineer just a few months ago. He left to take a higher paying job, unfortunately.
Human resources is staff, looks like health is staffed. Elderly services down 2 part-timers?
Yeah, I don't think she's really moving on that. Hasn't been any recruiting
Okay.
activity.
Park and rec is staff, public works admin is staff, vehicle maintenance is staff, grounds and building is staff, highway is staff, water pollution is staffed, engineering is down 1, right? We know that that's the assistant engineer, right?
That's correct, yes.
Registrar is staffed, like I said, the PD's maybe down 11 now if you lost 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
Animal control staff, and, Allentown looks like they have a couple of firefighters that they could hire, right?
Yes, yep. And those will be filled in December, so, those openings.
So is there anything that you would like to tell us to help? I mean, listen, I understand that depending on, like, engineer, IT, you know, those positions are coveted positions, and you could pretty much go right where you could go, and we're not gonna be competitive, you know? I don't know if there's something else that we could do, you know, and I'll leave that up to you and your department to think outside the box, but it's gonna, you know, I don't know if we probably are supplementing it with, you know, outside contractors or consultants to help us, you know,
Yes, we are.
bridge that work, right?
Yes, we are. Yep. Critical needs, you have to do, you know, critical things to get the work done. Yep. And there's a price naturally that comes along with that.
Mhm. Any other questions for the personnel director? I think you're good.
Thank you.
All right,
Good to
thank
see
you.
you all. Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, well, we're in recess until 6:30. Okay, it's 6:30. We're back in session. 6:30 is Public Works. Commissioner McCarthy's with us, and Public Works budget goes from page 73 all the way up to 85. Commissioner, you have any opening remarks or overview of what you'd like to share with us?
Sure. Good evening, City Council, Chairmans. What we're looking at is actually a relatively flat budget year over year. The main drivers, the increases this year are primarily driven by utility cost increases and fuel charges that have gone up. You'll see a few anomalies in there that are explainable. Vehicle maintenance, again, the driver's electricity, it is hazardous, it's automotive fuels. The big changes within the public works structure is, for whatever reason, it had always fallen to public works, blight and public space, even though blight by itself was a function of the building department. But given the fact that it was highlighted as an issue, we went ahead and we moved blight up to public works. And what that is the front door. So the front door in is the building department, all the inspections. The front door out, and that includes the public space, is now handled out of public works. We hired a young lady from New Haven that was part of their Living Initiative program, and I would say, I know she's engaged with a bunch of you guys, that she is really making a difference out there on the street. And that's one of the drivers that you see the increased head count in public works. You'll see on the compost site, you'll see a 8,000 to a 90,000. Every couple of years after the storms, we store these stumps, and this is one of the years that we will go ahead and grind them and get rid of them. You'll also see some increased dollars in there for trucking that material. When the first year I did it, it was the one and only time I had inherited the stumps. We promptly ground them and set them on fire. So we are not looking to do that. They burned for 2 days. We are not looking to do that again. The other portable restrooms are up a little bit. It's just there's no other answer for it except they just cost more now. I don't know why. They are through the roof. I will entertain. Actually, the other big driver in engineering is in public works. We are making a real effort this time to get an assistant engineer. We've put it out at different numbers and, in fact, got no response. So we do believe at the 110,000. The one thing I would explain to you on the positions is in an arrangement with the council office itself, 10 hours of your administrative assistant were done down at Public Works. I'm asking for, in this budget, for you to consider adding the administrative assistant position in our department, which would handle engineering and the increased blight, since we're now doing it there. And in return, those 10 hours, we would not need them. So while I'm asking for the position for 47,000, 16,000 of it would go back as the 10 hours that we would not need from your administrative assistant. The other thing I can tell you is in paying attention to that focus on blight and seeing if we could do something about it, we have requested and received a lot of paperwork from other towns, and we're in the process now of revamping our permitting structures and fees, because we believe that we're leaving quite a lot of money on the table. There are certain permits we do that we only charge $5 or $10 for, and quite frankly, it doesn't pay for the service we're providing. So with that, I would certainly entertain anything that you guys have for me.
Thank you, Commissioner. So, Tom, let me ask you about trash.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so much the numbers. Obviously, the numbers are the numbers, but does this contract have to go out? Is this the year that the contract goes out to bid?
Yes, we are. We have one more year on the trash.
Which contract?
Trash and recycling.
You mean for wheel grader or?
No, for
curbside pickup?
for junior.
Yeah, I think there's one more year.
One more year, but we are going out to bid with a view to, again, seeing if we can do the trash cans, the 96 gallons. The advantage to that, if we can pull this off, is we would go from every 1 week picking up recycling to every 2 weeks. Obviously, if you get 14-gallon totes, that's the bins, off the streets, then you don't have the bottles and cans blowing down into the ocean or down the streets every time it's windy. So there is a savings. Right now, we have a quote for the Branford's quote. It's the same. It's $54 a can, but we may be eligible for. We're working on a grant that would help us get that cost down to $15 a can.
And you're just looking to do that for recycling at this point?
We think we would do it for both, trash and recycling.
And so just happened to be coming, it must have been trash day in Milford, right near the West Shore. So driving through there, and everybody has their one brown Milford tote trash can. So I guess my question is what happens, do you only get one? Can you put other trash outside that tote, or are you only entitled to one tote? How does it typically work?
So the program, as I understand it, we've been investigating how New Haven does theirs. There are benefits. There are also a few concerns to be made aware of. Any of you that have driven around West Haven most surely have seen a New Haven bin or a Milford bin somewhere. That obviously did not originate in West Haven. Our plan would call for two. 196 for trash, 196, and these are gallons, for recycling. What I've been told is in New Haven, we subsidize getting you into those two. If you're a family of 15 and you need a second one, you would have to purchase that second one. We are revamping our rules. You will not be allowed to put bags out onto the street. It defeats the purpose. The animals rip them up and it's all over the place. So if we can pull this off, it will be only what's in the cans, and hopefully we're still doing the bags at that point. The concerns I've been made aware of is precisely what you brought up, is as these cans are used, wheels fall off, lids come apart, they get taken away. How do we as a city propose to replace them? And what we've talked about is, just like the contract now calls for a certain amount of tote cans to be replaced every year, we would put into the contract that the contractor would have to supply X amount of lids, X amount, because they're the ones theoretically who are slamming them on the ground. So we're trying to think our way through this.
So likely that'd be 2 years down the road by the time.
It would be implemented after this year's contract.
And I would think that if we implement that program, it's very important to have the, I call it the Carl Guarneri, because that's, I remember that. I don't know where it is here on the list, but it's here somewhere, right?
It is. It's the supervisor of operations.
Right.
That was, Lord rest his soul, the old Carl Guarneri position. Right now, we're going to do a bulk week starting on Monday. That starts at 5 o'clock in the morning. He'll be out there. I will take a turn out there. If we don't jump on the back of the garbage truck and look at the screw, if it's all the way out, that means we can put a lot of stuff into it. If it's out, then we don't know whether the stuff came from another town. There's no one whose job it is. There's no one whose job it is now to see what commercial enterprises are putting their trash out, and we're picking it up. And that position would have a heavy hand in enforcing the new rules that we're looking to put in place. Right now, there is no mechanism that if you are non-compliant with the rules, we still have to pick up the trash. So what we're contemplating and what we're going to come to this body with is a sort of a 3 strikes and you're out program. First contact is made by the garbage company. They put a sticker, here's what you're doing wrong. Second is a letter from us, a visit from us. Third is a letter saying make arrangements to get your own trash picked up. Don't know why other people should be able to cost more just because. So that's sort of what we're looking to bring to you guys.
And so special trash pickup city buildings is the same contractor?
Yes. Except, so the only 2 contracts we have is All American is all the cans. So all the cans at the schools, all the cans at City Hall, Those are all American, and then the curbside and the recycling, the trash and recycling is one contractor.
What's the name?
It's just one contractor, does them both.
All American.
All American has the cans.
Yeah.
They have that contract.
Yeah.
And another company has the garbage and the recycling.
What's the name of that other company?
That's affordable.
Affordable. Got it. Then I'll yield after, so, and then I'm just going down the list here. Yard waste bag pickup. Is that for the same time frame that it has been? I know that there's a certain time frame we contract
What
out.
do we do, 12 weeks and 8 weeks?
Yeah, we kinda, last year, we're trying to see when the heavy pickup is, so we're thinking probably May through the end of June, and then possibly again once we get to October. Our guys can do it parts of the year, but if it gets too heavy like it is now, we run into a problem.
And have the contractor started already this year?
No, it's out to bid. Actually, the bid comes back. We are getting some help tomorrow, but it's out to bid. The bid comes back the 24th.
Anybody have any questions for the commissioner? Councilwoman O'Connor?
The other day when Abdul was talking, I was kind of thinking outside the box. He kept saying that the engineer needs a license. And now, I don't know how they go about getting their license, but could we like get an application from a college student and sponsor their license and then lock them into a contract, you know, like for 3 or 5 years at least to start? Is
So-
that something we can do?
So, I mean, we are having to think outside the box on some of these positions. We've offered this position 3 times that I'm aware of during this administration, and ever so slightly increasing the wages all along. And it's just apparent that you cannot find, I mean, there's such demand for engineers that you just can't, you have to overpay, and we are not in a position to overpay. So, we've not ever been able to even offer a position to anybody, but we have to get serious about trying. So this is a more realistic number. I do believe that you will get some interest at this. But I agree with you, if this doesn't work, then we have to do something radically different.
Because I really like Abdul a lot, but he's my mother's age, so.
Well, I can't do it, I can't speak to that, but I can tell you that we have had help from the engineering schools already. We utilize them quite a bit. They provide a lot of free services to us, and we're very grateful for that.
Thank you.
So when Abdul was here the other night, we had talked about this, and he had said that it would be helpful if we could separate out, it's hard to find an engineer and a surveyor.
Yeah.
So he said if we could separate that out, and then the assistant engineer is what the requested amount is, and then add the 30,000 to professional services, and I guess you contract that out or bring somebody in or something.
That would be wonderful, because we actually could shoot a lot of our own grades if we had access to something like that. And it would actually save us some money.
Councilwoman Hamilton?
We've seen a lot of activity in the city. On schedule, all done.
Are we on?
We're behind schedule a little bit, but it'll be all done probably Tuesday.
It's nice just to go down those smooth streets.
Some of them were in terrible, terrible shape.
Feels good. I know somebody that just gets in their car and just rides up and down the street.
Sometimes I do it.
So thank you for that. We like that.
And on that paving note, if I could, just for the record, Rob Sandella did me the favor of coming here tonight, mostly because some of the stuff at Public Works is getting by me now. I am doing some other things while Lou is recuperating. So I apologize if I don't have an answer ready for you, but I would not be able to do any of it without Rob. So I just want to, for the record, appreciate what he's done for me.
You said, Councilman?
Oh, I am,
Yep.
thank you.
Councilman Boris?
How you doing, Mr. Tom McCarthy, Commissioner? Just a question. You said that we get you're trying to implement 2 gallons, I mean, 2 different, one for the 96 gallons for the trash and 92 gallons for the recycle?
Both the same size.
Same size, okay. If people need more, they will have to buy them, you're saying? Okay, so this way they don't have trash bags on the lawn, right?
We will, if we are able to implement the new code through you guys, it would be illegal to not have a cover on your can would be illegal, to leave bags outside. So, yeah, and I think it's progressive that if you need, you know, we'll provide a can for everybody. If you need 3 more, then, you know, you should pay for that.
Does it have to be that particular one, or can it be any other cover?
Listen, that's something that you guys will be able to determine. My own thought would be, I would prefer that we keep it to our cans. They're RFID, so, you know, they're identifiable. I just think when we deviate from the rules, then, you know, as you see out there, it's a hodgepodge of everybody doing everything.
Thank you.
Oh, of course, Councilman.
I'm done, thank you. Chairman?
Councilman Donovan?
Couple things. Tom, thank you again, and Rob, thank you as well. Every time I've called, either one of you guys have been there taking care of things. So, a couple things, with the trash, if we go to these cans, would that change the company in the aspect where, would they still need, can they use like those one-armed bandits?
Yeah, so.
Would that cut down on that price as well?
Sure, so one of the huge advantages to going to the toters is that it's a side-arm. So it's what they call a one-armed bandit. Theoretically, you're reducing the labor by one person. We will be able to accomplish that in 2 of our 3 districts. Allentown and the West Shore, we can reduce it by 1 person. You will not have the savings in the center of town, because as you can imagine, a human being will have to go down Campbell Avenue, grab those cans and pull them out into the street in order for that truck to lift them up. So, yes, there are some savings, there are not, but just it's time for us to automate and standardize our trash. It's time.
And the other thing here I see, and I know it has nothing to do with us, for the city, the street lighting, it's basically doubling
Yeah.
in the cost.
And that's just, that's just been a placeholder for where to pay it. It's, I have no function really in the street lights. You know, the bills don't even come, but there has to be some place to put it in, so it's in Public Works.
No, I get that. Have we discussed, and I'm probably gonna get nailed to the cross on this, but what if we shut every other one off?
I've suggested that, Councilman, if we're really looking for efficiencies, maybe we shut down every other street light and see what happens with the accidents. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is that become a major safety issue? Is that something the police would have to be,
I hope they don't.
you know?
You know,
I didn't know if they would weigh in on that as well, but,
yeah, we could save $1 million and make people happy, but it's an accident.
Shut down the stoplight, there's traffic lights too, because they don't use them anyway.
Alright, yeah, that's all I got right now.
Chairman?
So you get these containers, you're saying you pick up the trash every 2 weeks too?
No, trash.
Trash every week,
trash
just the
would stay
recycling every 2 weeks?
Recycling would go every 2 weeks.
And how about, now the new way of trash, there'd be the same thing like the DEEP is doing now with the new trash? The orange bags in there and the green
So
bag on top?
You know, I don't wanna get out too far in front of this, but it would appear that there is some desire for the city to continue with this program, and there may be some incentives for us to do that. So we're still talking through that. We haven't finished the program. As I said to Marv 2 weeks ago, we do know beyond a shadow of a doubt, we have some results in that our overall trash is down 11.6% from last year. So that's not insignificant.
Thank you. Good.
Councilman Garthwaite?
Hi, Tom. I have here, I think it's a new line item. It's eviction storage, eviction services for 67,000 and 30,000. Is this something new, or was this in a different department?
It's never been in a different department. The company that was doing it, Crosby and Sons, a couple of years ago came in and announced they would no longer be doing it. We put it out to bid. I absorbed it because there was no one else to do it. We moved eviction services to the Lake building, the old on Ogden Street, and we just absorbed it into my budget. So in an effort to be transparent, we're putting it out there. We did go out to bid. The only company that bid was a company from Meriden. So at that point, I decided, it's already bad enough you've been evicted, but the idea that you have to go to Meriden to get your stuff back, to me, was distasteful. So we actually said, let's put it into the budget and continue to do it. It probably will have to get outsourced at some point. We keep taking on work, but this didn't seem like a fair thing to do to be.
So, who are these people that are getting evicted? Are they on city property?
Oh, no. So, I have no role in who gets evicted,
Okay.
but we are responsible for taking people's stuff. That's a court process. And
Okay.
there are marshals who serve those papers within the confines of the city. And then they reach out to my office to say, we have an eviction scheduled for such and such a date. A lot of times they don't take place. When they do, they say, we're on the way, and we just provide the place to keep it.
Okay. So I find that incredible that the city has to absorb it. I would think that the landlord would have to, the property owner. Doesn't it seem, I mean, I don't know much about eviction, but,
Yeah, if we could get a company in West Haven to do it, or even local, we have tried. There isn't one, so
okay. All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
So we're required by law to house people's property if they're being
The
evicted?
city's required to have some place to take evictions.
And then do we charge them to get their,
$75, we hold it for 10 days, you can do an auction for with almost, there are a few anomalies. But you never get evicted right away. There are always multiple stages. So primarily, by the time we get people's stuff, it's down to stuff that no one else wants, and it's better for us to give it back than put it in the dumpster. So
isn't the Blake building not ours? Or in the process of not being ours?
it may well not be ours.
So-
And so this also provided me with another opportunity, as you may not know. We have a storage problem. We have always, when we got here, we had police boats out in the rain, $50,000 generators that were sitting out in the elements. So we have had a storage space on Forest Road, where WPCA keeps, you cannot leave a vac truck, $500,000 vac truck. You leave it out in the weather, it will freeze, it will break, and it will cost you an awful lot of money. So it also provided an opportunity for us to have a year-round storage space where we can now put police boats, where we can put the stage work on it. So it's kind of a twofer. So while you do see a big number there, I have to rent places regardless.
And, Mr. Taylor, street lighting, so it seems the rest of the budget, we carried maybe a 35% increase in electrical costs on various departments. This one is like Councilman Donovan said, it's just about double. Is there a different rate for streetlights, or?
I can't remember. I remember Rick Spryer was explaining that stuff the other day. It's not from the top of my mind
Yeah.
as to why that was particular higher. I did question him on that, and he assured me that that's the right number.
Yeah. It's a big number,
It-
so.
I agree, sir.
Okay. Any other questions for Commissioner McCarthy?
I did see somewhere where they were putting motion sensors on the streetlights, which might not be a bad idea. If you have another couple $1 million laying around, you want to spend on motion sensors.
Commissioner, I think we're good. All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Good luck.
Okay, we're in recess till 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock. We'll come out of recess, and we have the tax assessor with us. Anne Marie, if you want to come to the podium and you'd like to give us any little opening remarks or highlights from this past year, or anything else you want to tell us, and then we'll
Good
ask some
evening.
questions.
Well, first, I passed out a letter that I had, it was given to the finance, actually, it was all included in my budget, but I modified it a little bit, so, if you see, if you could take a chance to, I don't know if you guys read what I was asking for. The big, thing with my budget is I was asking for another full-time position. I identified a need to have this additional full-time position because we are running roughly 5 programs at the same time. And the demand of running these programs at the same time, they're all different requirements. So it's not like you're taking somebody's income tax and saying, okay, we'll take your adjusted income and we're done. It's not adjusted gross income, it's not gross income, it's what the state of Connecticut says is income. So we have to review everyone's income tax, and we have to go through what is included and what is not. And I did put some of the examples on the second page where it says, let's see, if you wouldn't mind, I could go over it with you, the programs that were running roughly at the same time. So February and May, the homeowners benefit and freeze begin in February, end in May, and we have roughly 1,000 applicants each year combined. February to October, we have additional veterans program, 250, and then April through October, we have the renters rebate program, roughly 900 applicants each year. So, this is in addition to all our other work. It's been a challenge to see the girls doing this. So not only do we have to do all 5 of these programs roughly at the same time, but we have to send letters. We send letters to every one of these residents, taxpayers, as well as we, at the end, when we're getting towards the end of the freeze and homeowners program, we see a lot of the elderly didn't show up for their appointment or didn't come in. We call them all because they are the elderly. We get calls all the time saying, oh, I don't have anybody who can pick up my stuff, or I can't come there. Why do I have to come every year for this one program, which is the elderly freeze? They have to come every year, and I'm like, well, this is the way it is in the charter, so you have to come yearly. We try very hard to do multiple calls to some of these people. And we go out if they can't come in. I'm going Monday morning on the way to work, Kelsey, to pick up paperwork for a taxpayer. I take it back, I'll do the freeze for her and the homeowners, and then I'll drop it back off to her house. She's partially blind. She signs it, and then I bring it back to City Hall. And Christy and I both did that a lot during COVID as well as now. Again, if their kids, they don't have somebody to take them, their kids or neighbor, family member, we do our best to get their information and put them on the program. But getting back to needing another full-time person, back in 15 when the freeze was added to our office, we didn't have another person, and we didn't hire another individual, and it's a challenge. It will alleviate the burden of the staff, and it would enable us to meet the demands of the residents in a timely and effective manner. It's important to note that the assessment process is a critical component to the city's finances. We're the primary, I should say, revenue here. With hiring another professional, it would be a positive impact on our office, and it will allow us to be able to go out and the assessors, because we are helping answering these telephone calls, and the counter, because the 3 clerical girls can't keep up with it. So at least this other person can help with the front, and we can do our work finding the the values and discover list. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, so, let me first go through your
Sure.
roster. So what you passed out tonight for the head count,
Yes,
and for the very bottom that you highlighted, vacant assessment technician, 42,515.
that's correct.
Right, so, on our budget book, it's another, I'm trying to make sure I'm not screwing this up.
I
Let's
don't
see.
think
It's under assessment auditor, and the difference is 44,717.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was as well. When I was looking at it, when I got a copy, I'm like, something's not right here.
After these were printed.
Okay.
Had a conversation with her, and there was a mistake.
So the proper title is assessment
Technician.
technician, and the proper
Funding.
amount is 42,515.
That's correct.
Okay.
Which means there's only one assessment auditor.
Yeah. So assessment auditor stays one,
Yeah, there's only
and
one
then
assessment.
the vacant position would be assessment technician. And that would be for 42,515 as opposed to 44,717.
And of course, if we, get this and we're able to hire someone, a need for a bilingual person would be great. So if we hire someone, we could kill two birds with one stone. Victor's always a big help, and Jasmine, and
Have you started kind of drafting a job description?
no,
yet?
we already had one in the budget because this position existed.
Okay.
It just wasn't hired.
Okay.
And I did attach that. If you want to, it is, let's see. It's attached to the head count. I mean, these are a little outdated, so it's, some modifications to this, but this is this is what was here.
And it's a 681 position as opposed to an 1103 position.
Oh, yes,
right?
that's
Okay.
correct.
So my only other question, for now is, 1,000 applicants for one program, 250 for another, 900 for another. Does the state require that these individuals present themselves in person, or is there some online system that they could utilize so you don't have all these people coming in the office, or is
Right.
there
No, there's nothing, the renters, we have almost 1,000 renters, they all have to come in because we have to enter it into the state of Connecticut software, because then the state of Connecticut has to send all these renters a check. Most assessors' offices no longer do this program anymore. It's a human resource. It's like the energy assistance, if you will. We just do it, we put their income and expenses in, and then the state of Connecticut sends the renters a check. But it's for the 65 and older and 100% disabled. We have quite a few disabled members, taxpayers on there. And they call and forget their appointments as well a lot, and it's a constant, yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
You wanna say something?
Yeah, I had, it's not a requirement by the state law that they have to come in. We do need a signature on file, so I was talking with IT to see if we could get like a DocuSign kind of thing, but they said it's, expensive, and if I could try to find something else that's not as expensive, because a lot of the people will email it to us if they can't come in, and then we have to fill it all out, and then we email it back to them. They gotta sign it, scan it back in, and email it. But if we could just get the DocuSign, it would make life easier for a lot of the people that can't come in.
Yeah, I mean, I would, not that I have any say in the matter, but I would encourage you to kind of continue that conversation, because it's all about enhancing our services for the community, and
Of course.
especially those that are either physically disabled, they can't come here, or, elderly, and, it seems a little archaic to me that we have to make them come down to City Hall during this time to bring this paperwork. So if there's any way that we could kind of use technology to leverage it, I think that'd be helpful.
We do, if the taxpayer can't come in, or they don't have somebody to bring them in, and they don't want us to come out to their house, they will email it to us, and then we send them a copy to sign, and then they send it back to us. But a lot of these people are elderly, so they don't even know how to email. Not everyone. I mean,
Right.
you know.
Right. Yeah,
So we just have to maybe keep both options.
yeah.
Yeah.
Questions for, Anne Marie? Councilman Boris?
How you doing, Emery? Thank you for coming. So I do understand the process where a lot of elderly don't know how to email. We get the same issues in the tax office. If you do get to hire somebody and is approved, can that technician, if somebody needs a signature and they don't know how to email, can that person actually go there and get a signature?
Yeah, that's what we really do now, but that person can absolutely do that. It will help.
All right, thank you. I'm done. Thank you, Chairman.
I mean, the grand list. So it was kind of stagnant, and I think most of the increase is due to how much our vehicles have went up in value because of the last several years, right? So I think, is that accurate? Most of our grand list growth was due to motor vehicle?
I think there was a 1% growth on all property types, real estate, personal property, and motor vehicle. Motor vehicle definitely went up, but that won't be what's going to be going on in the future. I was just at a meeting today. I don't know if anyone's aware of what's going on there's a lot of changes that's another reason why I wanted another person. We're not going to be valuing motor vehicles the way we value motor vehicles now. Instead of it being, it will be better for the taxpayer, because currently now we have to use the clean retail, which is based on supply and demand, like houses. Houses, if taxpayers, or if they're willing to pay this much money, it's what it is worth. So it's the same with motor vehicles. Now what they're proposing is MSRP. So they won't be going up, they'll be on a schedule. It was going to be a 10-year schedule. It may still be a 10-year or 20-year schedule. And they're also trying to get commercial motor vehicles to go on personal property, so DMV will not be giving us the commercial motor vehicles anymore. It will be the businesses that have to report it, which I'm not too thrilled about that, because I have a hard time getting businesses to report regular equipment. So we're not too sure how this is going to work out, but there is a delay in the, we're asking if the state could delay this bill for us, because we're not ready for this. We don't have and I think they are going to delay it after today's meeting. They're going to delay part of it. We may be able to still use the MSRP, but they are saying that we don't have to they don't believe anything's possible, but that we have to, they may wait on the commercial vehicles going on the personal property declarations, only because if they go on the personal property declarations, there's nothing in the law that states that we're going to be assessing them with the personal property mill rate. So that means then a business is going to have two personal property declarations. One with their commercial vehicles, which is the motor vehicle mill rate, and then the other will be for their commercial equipment. And that's gonna be a project. So we're still trying, we're hoping that maybe we can get OPM and anyone from the state to listen to us, and there's been testimony, and I did go to a meeting today, so we won't know until, I think, when is it, the end of July? I think that what they decide to do. And again, I heard they're going to delay part of the bill, so we won't know until July exactly what they're doing, but our grand list won't be going up from that, because it's, everybody's going to be valued. It'll be better for the taxpayer, but I don't believe we're going to be seeing our motor vehicle going up. And then it's going to be, after 10 years, the motor vehicle will be at $500 no matter what. That'll be the assessment. So.
And how do you audit personal property?
Well, we had a company that we had used probably about maybe 2015. It was 15, we did 3 years, I think 15, 16, 17. And I put in my budget last year and this year, but I have not had a minute to work with it. for, me maybe doing like 7 to 10 audits a year, so that we can get the new businesses that aren't filing correctly, and I do see new businesses not claiming what they should be claiming, in my opinion, after I look at these all the time, I know what they should be claiming, and, a lot of, I would like to, I don't believe I have to go out to bid because it's under $10,000. So I need to put out a hotline with the assessors to see if they have a company they can suggest to come and do between 7 and 10. I'd like to start that before, and so I get it in this budget, and then next, if it's still in there. I don't think we have a need yet to do all of them like we did last time. I just think if we keep up with auditing maybe 7 to 10 businesses each year, we'll. And then I also found a company, this is something that I think you guys will like, that a new company out there for out-of-state registered motor vehicles. I was really happy. I found out that Stanford uses this company, because the only other company out there is do you remember what the name of that company was? The company that, yes, MTS, that used to be in West Haven. Well, they got, they got fired, so I can't hire them again. But so there's another company, I believe it's called Tax Recovery, and I called the Stanford Assessor's office, and they're very happy with the company. So I just have to go out and bid on that. I just put an RFP out for reval, so that I had to get first, because we're doing reval a year earlier. We're doing it in '24. It's on a new schedule, revaluation schedule.
So is so under other professional services, is that money
Yes,
in there?
yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Hamilton?
Hi.
People for coming. So can you talk a little bit about
The havens, now that there's houses down, how is the assessment on land only, and it's, waterfront land? But how does that
Yeah,
all
well,
work?
yeah, really, we can't do anything about it being, the people across the street now have a beautiful view. We cannot just go and say now because you have a view, or,
No,
but yes, I was like, I'm sure everyone's thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, those people are going to be so happy with this. They're not going to want to go have anything built here now, Although when they see that their houses are going to be selling for more, if it does stay that way, then they may rethink that. But the market makes, the values, so.
So, but how are we assessing like the vacant land? Like, is there?
Yeah, so they're individual parcels right now. So the parcels on the water, like where Bilco Doors was,
Yeah.
that's a waterfront parcel. But if, let's say the Havens takes down all the houses, if they can combine the land and make it one piece, it will be more valuable. And we could assess it as a whole, it'll be more valuable if they combine all, so, I mean, I'm hearing that it's still happening there, but I don't know what's happening.
So right now, though, as they take structures down, we're collecting less taxes.
Yes,
so, right?
it'll happen next year. It'll go
Next
off
year
the
we'll
grand
see-
list. Yeah, we'll
we'll
see it
see
next
it.
not this tax bill, unless it was off the grand list by October 1st. You'll see it next time. I don't think it's all that much, because we had them at 50% anyways. So, I just, I don't think we're gonna see a big jump in our grand list, next year at all. Everything's gonna be, all the houses are going to be down. There's not much going on in the city, so, we're just, I'm trying to go out there, and we go out there like crazy. Well, Patricia and I and Doug go and try to, find businesses. That's all we can do, and of course, the house is valued at real estate. I think we're gonna, if the market stays the same, next year, our revaluation grand list will go up on the real estate, but then, you're gonna, I don't think you're gonna keep the mill rate the same. That's it's a lot. It really is a lot, and there's a lot of changes going on. There's a lot going on with exemptions too. They keep wanting to give more, which I have no more exemptions for veterans. She's the one with the veterans, so they're doing more even for veterans. So and keep making changes for veterans, and then
Supplemental's gonna be monthly.
oh, that's right, the supplemental bills. That's another change with they want us to send supplemental bills out monthly now, not once a year. So, instead of getting a list, a supplemental list, which the tax collectors, we're meeting with them. We have a meeting, the assessors and tax collectors, May 9th, I believe it is, to talk about this. Because they're opposed to it, and I'll do, whatever everyone decides it has to do. Well, it's what the state says we have to do. Oh no, actually it was an option. That's right. They keep changing things. So as of right now, it is an option that we could do it monthly. I think it would be better for the taxpayer monthly, because if you buy a car October 2nd or 3rd, you're not getting the bill for a year later. So, and then some of the homeowners, transfer and buy new cars 3-4 more times after that. And then we also have DMV sending us lists that, they work with the assessors, found out that all these cars are not on the grand list. So we have 2 lists, and these people are not gonna be happy, and I can't blame them, but they didn't get a tax bill for a few years. We sent one last year where we got a list from DMV, and there's also 2 more lists that we have in the office where we have to add all of these. Do you know how many there are?
There's 330 of them.
Yeah, we haven't even started working on that yet. And we have to, so some taxpayers are gonna get 2 years and have 30 days to pay the 2 years. There's not a better way with these motor vehicles. The state and the assessors are working together to try to make it easier. I don't know if this is gonna be easier. I do like the idea of the commercial motor vehicles going on personal property, because a lot of the businesses do not pay their personal property tax, and now they can go and lien and do something with the personal property taxes, because a motor vehicle will be on it. Now they won't be able to register their motor vehicles now if they have an outstanding personal property bill. Now there's no law out there that says they have to pay that. So a lot of these businesses, I'm sorry, they're not paying their personal property bill, and they're getting their motor vehicles registered.
Anybody
just
else?
have-
Councilman Boris?
I just have one last question.
Yeah.
So if you were to have somebody else, would that give you more time and to go out there and assess more properties and
Well,
make
we're
more
always
money for the
looking,
city?
we always need, for example, we have LLCs, we get list of the LLCs and corporations from state of Connecticut every year. Patty keeps up with them, trying to send out new businesses in LLC. We try to get them before, so we don't just add a declaration on for them. And these people are like, what is this? So we try to send them a welcome letter out. You filed a limited liability with the state of Connecticut. That means you're doing business in West Haven. Can you tell us what you're doing? Do you have any equipment? This way here, we know ahead of time, we don't have to add them. But we have it documented that this is what they don't have, but we don't get through everything. So, I mean, yeah, of course we can keep going and going and going when it comes to personal property, and but I think we're doing a good job with that. We go out and we look at every nook and cranny in West Haven to try to get those on. We really do. And, I see businesses all the time out there hiding in corners with trucks and dumpsters, and they don't, and then I put them on, they don't answer, and I put them on, and then they call, and sometimes they ignore it. I don't know. If anybody has any suggestions for a better way. And also, I wish there was a way to go get these taxes. I mean, they're not paying them, and they're still doing business.
So, so basically, if you have somebody, it does give
Yeah,
you
oh
the
yeah, there's
opportunity.
always,
I mean, today you were packed. Today was a lot of people there, I know that.
well,
so.
even if there's not a lot of people in our office, it doesn't mean we're not busy.
No, I
When
know.
they are not in the office, we have deeds, you name it. You could come in and see right now, we're probably up to what, March deeds? What?
I don't even think.
And I'd like to I have to take everybody off and try to just work on the deeds to get up to date before the bills go out, so we get the new owners on. But we have to, don't forget, every deed, you gotta read the deed without an interruption. You have to check the map to make sure it's the correct parcel. You gotta check to see if they have a homeowners or a freezer or veterans and prorate those on there. There's a lot you gotta look at. And then we check each other's deeds because we find mistakes. It's because there's a lot. There's a checklist, but we still check each other's deeds.
And then we have an appointment every 15 minutes.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
that's why another
Mr.
person will at least, they're overwhelmed. you go home drained looking at all this stuff. We have to be accountants, attorneys, we really do. If you see, you can come down, I'll be happy to show you the training that, the state of Connecticut gave these girls, and a lot of the assessors, the staff in each of these assessors' offices are not happy, but it's, and it's okay. But doing so many at a time with different requirements, like some of the programs don't require veterans pension, you know that better than I do, and some do. And that we had a couple people, that one taxpayer call, and they were not happy, but it's like, not us, this is the state law that says we have to count your pension. And they could not get on you need to talk to the state of Connecticut about that. And we don't get paid for the elderly anymore, so that's.
It sounds like you have to be knowledgeable in quite a few things.
We do, we really do, we do. That's why having, the more you have, the more help you have, the less, I try to keep everybody to have, like Christie's the veterans queen and others, I try to keep everybody, and she keeps up with the laws on all the veterans, one person's in charge of making sure all the deeds, we try to have one person allocated to each of the things, because you can't keep programs, you can't keep up with it all.
Councilman Donovan.
Emery, thank you for
You're
coming
welcome.
tonight. Christie, you as well. I feel like I gotta ask for
Sure,
my
yes.
constituents.
No, ask.
Don't hammer me. The job you're requesting, does it have to be a full-time job? Do you think there's enough work? Would it be making it a part-time job? Would that help? Would that not help so much?
Any bit will help.
Only because with a full-time, now you got benefits, you got all this
No,
other
I know.
stuff attached to it.
Yeah,
I just didn't know if maybe
part-time person.
asking a part-time at this point, and then maybe down the road,
Yeah.
turning that into full, but,
God bless you.
I just wanted to ask you.
Yes, yeah, any bit,
that.
little bit would be helpful to us, and then we could assess it then if that's,
She's talking 19 hours, so.
Oh,
It can't be, it has to be less, it has to.
That's all. You
What is
got
it,
the
have to
floor.
be under 24? 19.
19. That's why I was
Yeah,
I was asking 19, well, and you could say no, like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work out, but I just felt I needed to
yeah,
ask
no,
that
it's a good,
because-
question, it may help.
Okay.
We could try it out, I understand, we could try it out that way first, and then always get a need to make it full-time.
Thank you. I'm all set. Chairman.
Councilwoman Garthwaite?
Hi, just a little nitpick question. There's a new line item here. It's only $9,000. It says cash transport. Is that an armored truck?
Say that again, where is it?
Cash transport at
I
the,
think you're looking at tax collection.
Oh,
Page 60.
59, we're on 59.
oh, I thought we were, okay. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
I have nothing.
That's good, I'm glad, I was like,
I have
phew.
nothing then.
Tuesday's question.
Yes, and I wasn't here, so sorry about that.
That's all right.
Just to interject, the total salaries in the budget book is correct.
It is.
If you look at her,
That's
her
right.
sheet, it adds to the same number. So,
With the new position on there,
I'm assuming it's full-time.
right.
Assuming it's full-time, correct.
Anybody else have any other questions?
So you'll know that, obviously, it's the technician and it's in the other
Yeah.
union, right? Yeah, okay.
Just that didn't make the book.
Yep. Any other question, Chairman?
Hi, Emery, how are
Hi
you?
Pete, I'm good, how are you?
My question about the other, I get a lot of phone calls,
I'm
especially in
sure
my
you
area
do.
about it. They gotta make a certain amount of money though, per year in order to get the freeze, right? In other words, if they make
Yes,
$170,000 a year, that they're not gonna get the freeze, right?
not for 170, no. But Social Security is not included, so we do get a couple who's making 100 and some, but they're on the freeze.
All right, so in other words, I gotta say 100 lower than 100 grand a year?
For a married couple, what's the most you've seen? Like
I've
100?
seen over 100.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it depends. If they
Yeah.
have rental properties just say, like, we don't count like depreciation and depreciation,
And-
depletion, and you have to go in and go to all the schedules and A and Schedule D and whatever they have, and you gotta deduct stuff out, so sometimes it ends up making it, and because Social Security doesn't count as income, they'll get by.
Oh, I was gonna try to save you time, so I don't have to bother you.
Yeah, you know what, we like to tell the taxpayers, come in and let us look at it, because there's really no bottom line, and we don't want someone to not be able to get it if they're not sure. You know, so I'm like, if we're not sure, you know, it's easy if you say, okay, we have just Social Security, you add those, the Social Security and annual, and that's it. You know, so that's, but some people I say, come in, let's look at it, because even if they're just $1 less, they can be on it, you know, $1 more, they can't, but,
I'll just tell them to call
yeah.
you and go
Yeah,
down.
tell them to come in, it's better that they do.
Okay, I'm good.
Emery, reval, so you said that the frequency changed. It used to be, what, every 5 years?
It still is every 5 years, but the state of Connecticut changed they changed the schedule for the towns. So some of us are doing a reval this time 4 years after, not 5, and some 6. They're putting them in, well, they were supposed to be corners of the state, but I don't know. It doesn't look like that's what they did, so I'm confused.
So
but
ours was done last when? 2020?
2020, yes. So we're doing ours 24 instead of 25. And then it will be 5 years after that. But then, did anybody hear too? The assessment rate may change. It may not be 70% anymore. It may be 75%. Which, so that's going to be really difficult to get used to that. I don't know why they want to do that. I really don't. I don't know who made that up, but it's out there.
That's why they want to do it.
Yeah, I know. There are so many changes,
Florida's looking better and better.
I know.
Any other questions for the assessor?
It just drives the road.
Right. Okay. Emery, thank you for
Thank you,
coming
Emery.
tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If you guys have any questions, you can email me or come down and I'll do my best.
Bring your tax return.
Yeah, I know, really?
Okay, so our next meeting is Tuesday, the 25th, 6 o'clock.
No, 24th.
Bye now.
I gave it.
The next budget hearing is
Next budget hearing is Tuesday, the 25th, 6 o'clock, Police and Animal Shelter, 6:30, 911, and 7 o'clock, Allentown Fire Department. Till then, we are in recess.